Hey, what's up guys? It's Rick with the Digital Divide. Today we're going to be reviewing the 1UP arcade machine based on the X-Men vs. Street Fighter cabinet. If you've watched my previous videos, then you know I used to collect these little micro arcade machines, and I still have them, but that was mostly due to a lack of space in my apartment. Well, I'm getting married this year, and I moved into a bigger space with the missus, so I ended up getting online and looking for a full-sized arcade machine, or as close to that as I can get. And I found this X-Men vs. Street Fighter machine from Arcade 1UP, and it used to be $500, but it's on clearance for $349. So not only are you saving $150 off the regular price, but this one actually comes with the custom riser that elevates it so it's a bit taller, and that's normally like a separate buy. They also make these stools that you can buy that match the machine. But yeah, these risers go anywhere from like 50 to 70 bucks. If you look here, just the plain like default Arcade 1UP riser with no artwork on it is 50 bucks alone. Whereas this one comes with a riser that has all the custom artwork on it. So that I just thought that was an incredible deal. I had to pick it up. Now these guys make all kinds of cool stuff. They actually just announced that they're making a Simpsons Arcade 1UP machine that supports 4 players. They also have this one coming up. It's the new Ninja Turtles they're making based off of Turtles in Time. And this one also has 4 controllers as well. And then they also have the classic X-Men 4-player arcade cabinet as well, and they even have like a seated outrun machine that has a steering wheel and everything, so they make a lot of really cool stuff. So this is the machine I ended up getting after I put it together here. You can see the finished product. And it looks beautiful. This is the front of the machine when it's off. With the riser, it's just under 5 feet tall. It's actually about 4 foot 10 inches. This is the side of the machine. You can see the artwork here is just gorgeous looking. And because this is a 2-player game, it does have 2 full sets of controls here. And one thing I like about this is that at the top of the machine it shows you all the moves so you don't have to remember them, which is a really nice touch. This is the marquee artwork, and this does light up, as you can see here. And then this is the riser that I mentioned before that came with this particular unit. It's normally a separate buy. And this thing was really easy to put together. The instructions were simple. It took me about an hour. They have this video on YouTube for people that need a bit of extra help, but you really shouldn't. It's super simple to put together. So is the emulation any good on this box? It's probably the biggest question a lot of you have. And yeah, it's terrific. It's really, really, really above what I expected. Now, the underlying operating system that powers this cabinet, I think, is using Android, but the emulation itself appears to be using the actual arcade ROMs and not like one of the console ports. I do have some of these games on the Sega Saturn, but I love them so much that I just needed to have this cabinet. So when you boot up the system, you're greeted with this menu. There's the volume button there, but here's the menu for the games. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, obviously. Marvel vs. Capcom, which is my personal favorite. X-Men Children of the Atom, and then we also have a weird inclusion with X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, which I believe is actually like a Super Nintendo side-scrolling game. It's the only one on here that's not a fighting game, which I thought was odd, but this does support online. You can see it has leaderboards on the right for games that support it. There are some minor network settings that you can adjust here. This does have Wi-Fi, so you can connect to your network and play against people online or locally. So the first game we're going to jump into here is my personal favorite, which is Marvel vs. Capcom. And you can see, again, you can play online versus actual people, or you can play locally. I'm just going to speed this part up for the sake of time.
Capcom presents.
And you can see this is running at full speed. It's hard to tell on this compressed YouTube video, but the screen is absolutely stunning. It looks so good. It's in the right aspect ratio, which is 4:3. It's not stretched out. The color reproduction is pretty much perfect. It's just really impressive emulation here. So you know I gotta pick Captain America, and then I'm gonna go with Ryu. And I'm just gonna do easy mode here, because I haven't played this in a while, so we'll go Turbo here. And as you can see, you're just playing Marvel characters versus Capcom characters, and there are a lot more characters that you can play. They just have to be unlocked. I haven't unlocked any of them yet.
Captain America, win!
Alright, so the next game we're going to get into is going to be X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. This is that weird inclusion that I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to skip through this part until we get to the actual gameplay. But as I mentioned before, this is like a side-scrolling game, kind of like the old Ninja Turtle games, but you're playing with X-Men characters. And if I'm not mistaken, this is like a Super Nintendo port of this game. So it's weird because the other three games that are on here are all fighting games and they're arcade games, whereas this one is a console game and obviously not a fighting game. So, I mean, it's nice to have because the first generation of these 1UP arcade machines only came with a single game. So with the new generation, the build quality is better and you're also getting a lot more games. You're getting, you know, in this case, you're getting 4 games instead of just the one that they used to come with. So as you can see, there's not much to it. There's a jump and attack button, and you're just beating dudes up. Okay, so I think you get the point here. It's a pretty simple side-scrolling game. The next game we're going to play is X-Men Children of the Atom. This is the only fighting game, as the name implies. It's the only one in the collection here that is just all X-Men characters. There are no Capcom characters in this game. But that's kind of cool because it includes characters like Omega Red, for example, and Colossus and Sentinels that are not in some of the other games. I'm just going to go with Omega Red. And as you can see, I suck at this game. So we're going to go ahead and move on.
Round 2. Fight.
The next game we're going to try out is X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Let's go, bub.
This one is very similar to Marvel's Superheroes versus Capcom, although the characters are a bit different. You have a bit more options on the Capcom side specifically.
X-Men versus Street Fighter! Ready?
Ready!
Fight! First attack! Up the left! Up the left! Feet twice! Up the left!
Alright guys, now that you've seen a bit of gameplay, I just gotta say that I can't recommend this enough. The build quality is absolutely superb. It's a giant step up from the first and second generation 1UP arcade machines. I would highly, highly recommend this, and I would recommend getting it before they're gone because it is on clearance right now. So I would rate this a 10 out of 10, and that's no exaggeration. That's going to do it for me today, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.